Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is August the 30th, 2023, and today the topic is the good way. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you all had a wonderful Tuesday. Mine was just fine. Um, of course, I have to tell you all, thank you for a variety of reasons. Reason number one is thank you to each and every person that showed love on my 37th birthday, which was yesterday. I had a good day. I went to breakfast. It was amazing. Unfortunately, I did not get my passport yesterday because I realized I needed my birth certificate, and so I ended up ordering that instead. I know, Mama, I know. You probably have given it to me and it's probably somewhere, but I didn't know where it was around here. So I had to order me another one. So that's what I ended up doing yesterday instead of getting my passport. And then I tried to rest because I started to feel the effects of the ongoing weekend and pushing through on Monday to do all the tasks that I was doing then. I was explaining to my homegirl yesterday. I was like, Mondays are usually like my Saturdays, where I'm kind of like having either like a do nothing day or not much going on per se. But because this Monday I was kind of busy going here and there and having meetings and whatnot, basically, yeah, I was starting to feel the effects after our breakfast yesterday. And so I did end up taking a nice good nap, but I think today will be one of those low key days for me. So yeah, I'm gonna be trying to catch up on rest from all the events and shenanigans and whatnot that has been going on over the past 4 days. And so yeah. Not only do I have to thank you guys for again all the birthday greetings and things that you guys have said and done over the past, yesterday. But the other thing I have to thank you all for is getting us to the 1,000 subscribers. We officially hit 1,000 subscribers yesterday on my birthday, y'all. So that, I mean, obviously is a great memory, a great gift that you all gave. So thank you so much to each and every person who has decided to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, I'm not sure exactly about what all this means for us, but I know it was a goal, and I know it was something that we needed to do and hit. So I'm greatly appreciative to each and every person that has decided to subscribe. I hope that you guys hit the notification bells and that you guys um, are enjoying the content that we create here. As promised, a video with my husband will be coming out soon. We got to get that on the schedule when we're gonna film it and everything like that, but that is coming, and everything like that. Hopefully I'll be able to make an announcement as well alongside of that video. So be on the lookout. Real soon, you guys will finally get to meet the man with the plan, and everything like that. And so, yeah, yesterday was an amazing day. I read every comment that people left on my profile, and everything like that. And, so I have some fond memories to think about when it comes to turning 37 and everything like that. Y'all, let's get into this conversation about the good way. How did your girl get to the good way today? Well, I would say that it's partially inspired by the time that God woke me up the second time. Now, first he woke me up around I believe it was 4:43. And I was making a note of that, and I came across a Bible verse that you know, felt like was standing out to me and everything like that. Um, but I guess I listened to a prayer meditation. I went to sleep, and then God woke me back up around 6:16. And after I listened to the prayer meditation again, I went back to 4:43, and it was I went to look up. It was, I guess, supposed to be Matthew 4:43. So here's another reminder again to us to double check the things that we see online. I went to go look up Matthew 4:43, in the Bible app, and it was not there. So again, it was one of those verses that come from, I guess, the Church of Latter-day Saints or whatever the case may be. So we just got to be diligent when we're doing our studies and whatnot, because obviously there's a lot of things out there. And I don't know if you guys have heard this recently, but this is something I've heard over the past few weeks. I've heard that China is looking to change up the Bible and things of that nature. So yeah, we need to probably get, like, obviously our physical Bibles together, or get it in your memory, whatever you guys need to do, right, to make sure the true word of God is secured. Because yeah, I mean, it's just as easy. Like this morning, like I said, if I had just went with what I thought that I was seeing with my Google search, then I would have been telling y'all Matthew 4:43, and y'all would have went and flipped there and not seen nothing, because so just something to be diligent about and be wary of. So I thought I was going to talk about something different based on that, but eventually I went back to 6:16. And this phrase, the good way, really stood out to me. And so that is where the inspiration came from today. So let's get into it. Let's share with you guys the verse that led to today's topic. It's Jeremiah 6:16. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said he will not walk." Or excuse me, they said we will not walk therein. Ooh, it started off so good, man. It started off so good where you're like, basically, God is, I guess, presenting us crossroads and telling, walk in the way of old, the good way, X, Y, and Z. And then it ends with a little bit of pulp from us saying that we will not walk that good way. We're going to walk our own way, things like that. I mean, again, we do that type of thing all day, every day. Again, with our choices, our actions, and everything like that. But again, that's probably a whole nother topic just by itself, to be honest. But obviously, again, this is where the verse or the inspiration, the good way, comes from. And as I was writing this down, I just was thinking to myself, I'm like, God don't really ask that much of us. And so why is it that we make the things that are written in the Bible, whatever the case may be, we make those things so heavy, or we make it this stumbling block for us to say, no, we don't want to do that. But I think that's where it is at the end of the day. It's not that the task that he sets before us is the heavy task, or whatever the case may be. Not say the heavy task. It's not that the task he sets before us isn't good, but it's that it may not be what we want to do, and that's what gets in the way of us going down the path that he created for us, the good way. If the good way, again, doesn't match your way or your idea of what good is, or whatever the case may be, and you don't want to do it, then we're just like these individuals that are saying that they will not walk therein. Again, just so y'all know, the thing that got me on this path is hearing the sermon Pastor Sammy said down there at God House Orlando. And he said, if you make your wants, or God's wants, your wants, you're going to get what you want. And that's when I started to seek the Lord about what he wanted from me, because I thought that I was on the path. I thought that I was doing the things that, he wanted me to do, and all of that type of stuff. I thought that I was on the good way and everything like that. But the more I started to seek the Lord about, his will and whatnot in my life, the more that I started to see that, okay, I need to change this and that. Obviously, you guys know I wrote about it in the cultivation period, A Single Christian Journey. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing, y'all. I mean, we have to, again, align our ways with God's ways. I mean, again, I don't know why we make that so difficult. Because on one hand, it doesn't seem to be that difficult of a task. But again, if it's something that you don't want to do, then I guess that's where the difficulty comes in. But anyway, I could give several more examples of that, again, with my own life. But I'm just going to keep on going. and share with you guys some more verses. So Ephesians 2:10, it says, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." I mean, this is a very familiar verse here on the GSL platform. I feel like I'm sharing this verse all the time here on the Juice. It's just a reminder of what it is. It says that we are his workmanship. I know we like to think that we're, like I said yesterday, like we're the pearl, right? We're the great pearl. We like to think that we are everything, or the world centers around us. Even my 4-year-old son goes around, talks about that it's NJ's world, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out who taught him that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who taught him that everything is about him? We all have that mindset that everything is about us, but we need to get the mindset that everything is about Jesus and that he created us. We are his creation, his workmanship for his glory, things of that nature. And I think the quicker that we get that into our heart and mind of understanding, then the quicker then you'll see some things going on in your life that what you truly, your heart's desire. Again, I can't even sit here and think about like where I would be if I didn't get on the good way or get on the path that God created for me. A lot of you all that I've met over the past few years, I probably would not have met. A lot of the conversations I've had, a lot of the things I'm doing, a lot of the blessings that have been, happening in my life. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know where I would be if I did not get on the good way. And I think about that every now and then, because it's like, I guess it's just a nice reminder to know that, I've seen the change that God has done in my life. I've seen the blessings. I've seen the things, and the open doors and all these different things where, I saw what going my own way led me to, and I see what being on God's path has led me to. And I prefer the good way, y'all. I prefer to be on this path. More than anything else. Like even yesterday, having a moment, just we were just sitting in the living room, and me and my husband sitting on the couch and in our own little world still. I was like reading this little app, story app or whatever, and he was like watching this show, and our son was just playing in the background. And I'm just thinking to myself that I really wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like whatever my alternative life would have been, I don't envy it. You know what I mean? Even if it was, sometimes I think about it, and I might make a movie about this, so I probably won't get too deep into it. But I think about like, maybe some things that probably could have led me to quote unquote fame or quote unquote, bigger opportunities or whatever the case is. But it's like, I much prefer the peace that I have in my life now. Like, I don't have to worry about if my husband's gonna come home. I don't have to worry about if he's gonna mismanage finances. I don't have to worry about, any other things that I probably would have been like major issues if I had to stay on my own path. And so I don't know. I mean, I can't sit here and convince you, y'all. At the end of the day, the Lord has to prick your heart and mind, and you have to be open to, again, his will, his way for you guys to get on the good way. But I'm just trying to be a living testimony and just share what the Lord has done for me. And I remember clearly being on my own path and going down this downward spiral and feeling like losing myself, losing my concept of like not just who I was, but like I really had to sit down and tell y'all that whole story about especially like my ex right before my husband, because that was like, I tell y'all all the time that it was a mentally and verbally abusive situation, but I feel like I really need to get that story time together, or just really share that testimony in one video or something like that, the whole thing. But we're gonna see what the Lord do when it comes to that. But yeah, like that was definitely a downward spiral, you know what I mean? And nothing against the young man. I hope that he's, going forth and doing great things in life. I pray nothing but blessings for him and whatnot. But it wasn't where I needed to be. And it's very clear, it's very clear. When I think back on where I was and just my mindset at that time, again, the mental and verbal abuse led to so much, like, I lost myself. You know what I mean? The only thing that kind of was helping me at that time was, I mean, obviously knowing God, but then, I kind of was like emailing myself just to remember my own thoughts and remember like who I always known myself to be, because this person, you know, nitpicked everything about me to the point where it's like, what, where did this come from? I'm sitting here thinking, like, how did you get this assumption of me? You know what I mean? And how did I get here, and things of that nature. But anyway, the good way, y'all. The good way. I'm just trying to promote the good way. So let's get back into some verses. 1 John 2:6. It says, whoever say he abides in him ought to walk in the same way in which he walked. That's the thing. At the end of the day, friends, I mean, you know, again, you'll know them by their fruit. Like, if you can't sit here and proclaim to be a believer and then you know, not walking in the way that Jesus walked. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, we want the rewards and the benefits of being a believer, but we don't want the path of being a believer. You know what I mean? And it's a human way to be or whatever. And we all got to go through our own journey to understand that and stuff. But it's very plain and clear here that we need to be walking in the good way. And then here's the thing too. Because people, I feel like we take things out of context when it comes to the Bible. You know, even some things Jesus said, like, people take offense, which I get it, because then you're looking at the words and you might not be understanding like the full picture, right? And so you're just looking at the words. Like, one of the main quotes, right, is when he called the woman a dog. I know we probably all are familiar with that. Now, not knowing that, again, he is God, he knows all. So that means he knew what the woman was going to say. He knew that his disciples was looking at him, and you know what I mean? So he knows everything. So without looking at that, and you looking at that, oh, well, he called her a dog, so how could he be X, Y, and Z? Like, so I literally heard someone, I want to say a few weeks ago, you know, kind of asked that question, like, ain't that a sin to call someone a dog, X, Y, and Z? Obviously it wasn't. Now maybe it would be for me or you to call one another a dog, because at the end of the day, neither one of us is God. But for God, right, to say to all of us that we are filthy rags before him, you know, let's just be clear about that. And he knew, again, what the woman would say, and he knew the woman's faith, right? And basically he tried her faith in front of his disciples to be an example of what not to do, I guess, in some ways. Because it's like, it's just like that account when I believe it was for Peter, when Peter got dropped all that food and God was telling him to eat, and Peter was all like, oh, well, I wouldn't eat nothing unclean, X, Y, and Z. And he did it 3 times to let him know that don't call something unclean that I call clean. So at the end of the day, and that was a representation of the people that was getting ready to meet him. And again, if you do deep dives and studies, you'll understand that, you know, I guess the relationship between the people was very tense in that day when it came to Gentiles versus Jew. And I mean, it's still that way when it comes to, you know, us races as well. But, you know, we have this idea of us being better than someone else, to where he showed his disciples in that moment that even though he called her a dog, but that's probably what those disciples or people around them or the Jews would have done to her, right? But because he knew her faith, he was able to, well, commend her for her faith right after that. And that could be an example to the disciples and to even to us today, that, you know, again, to not call someone unclean or not to think less of someone or whatever the case may be, just because of quote unquote who you are and quote unquote who they are. So again, but we take things like that, right? And we feel like, oh, Jesus sinned, or we feel like, oh, Jesus wasn't perfect, or we want to put whatever narratives that we have on Christ, and then use it as excuses or loopholes to try not to walk in the way that he walked. So I guess what I'm saying at the end of the day, when it comes to this particular verse and whatnot, is to that our idea of what is quote unquote good, we should just look at that as flawed. I mean, because just because he said that to the woman doesn't mean that he's less good than he is. Same thing for like when he was talking to his mom, or when he left his mom as a kid, X, Y, and Z. I mean, you don't see any other accounts of him doing that until he got older. But even that, right? Like, because I mean, again, me being raised in the South, I know definitely for sure, not to, leave my parents. We in a crowded place, and I leave my parents for however many days at a time, and then they come back, and then I say to them, "Old woman, X, Y, and Z." Like you, I mean, that would seem as very disrespectful, or whatever the case may be. But again, with him being who he is, which is God in the flesh, I mean, that's a whole nother different scenario that we just don't match up to. So we could never really truly do or say the things that he do and say, but we can walk in the way, right? And we probably need to, I guess, adjust our minds when it comes to what that means. That's all that to say that. But anywho, I got one more verse for y'all, and it's 1 Peter 2:21. It says, "For this you have been called, because Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example so that you might follow in his steps." So once again, this is reiterating this idea of following in his steps. Again, it may be doing things or saying things or whatever the case may be that, it might be offensive to some people. It might be looked at as disrespectful, whatever the case may be. But if you are walking in the way of Christ, then you're on the good way, y'all. And this is ultimately the juice. I mean, I only got like one verse in the Go Deeper section for you guys to peruse and let marinate on your hearts and minds. But you guys can pray about everything I just said. Read those verses for yourself, see where the Lord is leading you. If you're on the good way, great. Let's get some more people on the good way. If you're not on the good way yet, then, I mean, let's humble ourselves and look at this and understand that it's better to get on the good way and follow him and walk in his footsteps than to stay on our own path and perish, or whatever the case may be. So you guys can go deeper with all that. That is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is John 15:12. It says, "This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. There you go. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Thank you so much again for listening, watching, subscribing, and sharing all those wonderful things. Thank you again for helping us get to that 1,000 subscribers on my birthday. Like I said, that's one memory for the memory books for sure. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, man, my little guy's going to be getting in or logging into his class soon. So I guess I'm going to go and get ready for that. I hope y'all understand what I was saying. If not, like I said, y'all can go and pray about it, read the verses for yourself, see if you're getting the same conclusion I'm getting about the things that I've shared. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. So y'all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow at the Lord's will. Bye.